Hey guys, it's Mel. I'm sitting here, I'm with Technsports. Now, if you don't know, Technsports is the #1 pre-owned clothing seller in the world. So I'm sitting here with somebody who's got a lot of knowledge about eBay. And I've been feeling like I need a little bit of help with my eBay store. I could ask Tech some of these questions like in private, but then I thought maybe advice he can give me for my store might benefit anybody else who's watching this, because you might be able to relate, you might be feeling the same way as I am and how I'm feeling about my store currently, and maybe some of the advice Tech might give me, maybe it'll benefit you. So I'm not feeling very happy, I guess, with how my store is going at the moment, and I haven't had a good year, and there's been a lot of ups and downs. The store's gone into time away multiple times due to circumstances, and it's kind of just got to the point where I feel like I'm not being very consistent. And I'll just say to Tech, I'm happy for Tech to give me any advice he thinks. Like if he wants, he can be brutal with me, guys. I'm happy for Tech to be brutal with me because I feel like I need a little bit of a wake-up call here. I feel like I'm not being very consistent. I know I'm not listing consistently. I know I'm not doing all the things that I should be doing. I'm not a model student for the Patreon group. I'm definitely not your best student. But it's not due to not wanting. Like I feel like I've got drive and I've got hustle and I want to make this work. I'm one of these people that likes to also have some balance. And obviously I've got kids and I've got mum duties and I've got other stuff going on. So I don't have the capacity, I guess, to do the 20-hour days and grind away for years and years and years. I don't think that's me. But I feel like I don't know where I'm putting my focus. I feel like at the moment I've got focus. Nothing's got a lot of focus on it. So I'm spread thin. I'm trying to do YouTube. I'm trying to do some eBay. I'm trying to do stuff with the kids. I'm trying to juggle long distance with a commute out to my warehouse. And I just feel like I'm giving a little bit to everything and nothing's doing great. I feel like everything is just kind of running along at a pace, but it needs to be at a better pace. I need to be making more money than I am, but I feel like I don't know where to focus my time, and I don't really know what, except for the everything going on that makes me a little bit scatterbrained. I'm not 100% sure what my main bottleneck is. But I think after spending some days with you here and seeing how you run your business and how streamlined it is and how minimal it is, like your whole life is minimal at your house, minimal in your warehouse. And I'm the type of person who gets big hauls and then it clutters up my warehouse, and I spend a lot of time organizing and reorganizing. And I like to have a little bit of death pile or inventory pile, working inventory pile, but I seem to always end up with too much of it. And then it's all over the place. I've never got clear benches to work with and put I've got benches that are designed for packing. They're always full. The floor's always full. The bookshelves are always full. It doesn't feel like a working inventory pile for me. It feels like just a mountain of inventory pile. I'm also juggling the YouTube. And I'll be honest with everyone, I love the YouTube. I prefer to do YouTube more than I prefer to do eBay. I get to be creative when I make videos and I just enjoy the whole process. I feel like YouTube challenges me more than eBay. eBay, I feel like for me is a bit like entering the spreadsheet and just going about that grind, whereas YouTube gives me more satisfaction. I try to do a lot with my eBay and then I try to do YouTube and then I fail miserably at both. And then I end up being inconsistent with my eBay and inconsistent with my YouTube. And at the moment I feel like I'm inconsistent with both, which isn't good for the eBay business, and it's also not good for YouTube and all the people who watch me. And it leaves me feeling unsatisfied and angry at myself. Like I end up sometimes I get to the end of the day and I think, what did I achieve? I just feel like my whole day is consumed with stuff. And I don't even get to the end of the day, and I'll get to the end of the day and I'm like, I've done so much stuff today, but what have I done? I haven't even got any listings done. Feel like when I only list like a smaller amount of listings, that I feel like it's not enough. And I think that's a psychological thing of a lot of time. And I also, like, I'm putting a lot of listings into the store when I do list, but a lot of it is bread and butter. And I think something clicked in me the other week. I was picking for Tom, and because I was coming here to America, so I was trying to save my money. So we went to a book fair, and instead of picking for myself, I picked for Tom. And while I picked for Tom, I was really conscious because it was his money. So I didn't want to just buy stuff that was more low-end filler bread and butter. I just picked really carefully and picked really good books that I knew would bring that higher profit. And at the end of that book fair, when I looked at the books that I'd picked him, I was like, wow, I just picked him some really great books. And if those were my books, I would be coming home and I'd be excited to list those in my store. Whereas at the moment I come home and it's like, I'm not really excited to list what I've bought because a lot of it is bread and butter, and it just feels like I'm just listing it to fill the store and to fill my numbers. There's probably part of me that realizes that I need to cut out some of that low end stuff and focus on maybe less is more, set an amount or something so that I'm not listing anything under a certain dollar amount. Maybe I need a better schedule. I don't know. I feel like I'm just in this blur with everything. And he's sitting here thinking, oh my God, she's a lost cause.
Oh, that's okay. The things that you're talking about are very common. So a couple of things that you touched on. First of all, you have a lot of stuff that you're trying to juggle: the YouTube, the eBay business, the mom, the kids, and everything else. So we need to figure out what the capacity is that you're able to do, figure out a schedule that will allow you to do that capacity, and then the juggle between the eBay and the YouTube. You could love YouTube as much as you want, but if it doesn't cover all of your bills, we have to focus our attention where the money is until whatever we want to do takes over and covers the bills. So, we could talk about doing a schedule, but we don't know what the capacity is. So we need to figure out how much you can really do and then make a schedule that will allow you to do it. So how much you can really do is how many listings can you put up per week? And you can divide that over 7 days. How active do you want to be on YouTube? And then we can divide that over 7 days. And then we can build a schedule. Because this is the thing, if I ask you and say, what will you be doing inside of your business and business as a whole, business of Mel, Friday, August 11th, what are you going to be doing at 2 p.m. Friday, August 11th? You have no idea.
I don't.
So
I feel like
know.
everything comes up and it's like, I feel like I might have a plan and then something happens.
So when you have a schedule, I know what I'm doing Friday, 2 p.m., August 11th. And I don't know if August 11th is a Friday, but I know what I'm doing 2 p.m. that day.
Yeah.
We have the schedule, and the schedule is based on what our capacity is to do. So if your capacity is 20 items a day, then we need to figure out how many you could do per hour photos, how many you could do per hour's listing. And roughly, we're probably looking at 2 or 3 hours. Okay, that's 2 or 3 hours out of a 24-hour day. And if you want to focus, how much time do you want to focus on social media and YouTube per day? If it's another 3 hours, that's a 6-hour day. And I know you have about a 1-hour commute both ways. That's an 8-hour day right there. So if you only want to put forth 8 hours per day, and I say only, that's subjective. If you want to do 8 hours per day, that's your day. Now we need to look at, I'm doing 3 hours a day on eBay, photos, listing and shipping, get it all done in 3 hours. 3 hours a day on YouTube and social media. Now we have to say, is 3 hours on eBay enough to pay all the bills? Is 20 a day going to pay all the bills? 20 a day can pay all the bills if you make $20 profit per item.
Yeah.
20 per day can't pay all the bills if you make $1 profit per item. And in certain categories like books, you could get trapped into making $1 profit per item.
Yeah.
Or spend more time looking for better items. And like you said, for the one with Tom, when you were sourcing for Tom, you left items that you would have got for your own eBay store.
Yep.
But those items were not good enough for someone else's store.
Yep.
So if I sent you to the thrift and I said, hey, I want you to find me the best 20 items you could find, you won't bring home the same items that you would list for yourself.
No.
And that's something that was very enlightening. So if I was going to source books for you, I wouldn't bring you junk books that would be good enough for me, because that would be embarrassing. Yeah. I would only bring you the best of the best books that I could find. So if you're going to do 20 listings a day, 7 days a week, that's 140 listings a week. That means book number 141, you leave at the thrift. It's not good enough. So you have to find the best 140 books that you can per week if you're going to allow yourself 20 listings per day.
Mhm.
And it's the same thing for YouTube. If you're going to put up, if you have the capacity to do 2 YouTube videos per week, the third one that's not as good, again, that goes in the garbage. We have to put up the 2 best YouTube videos per week. You wouldn't pick up yourself a bad YouTube video.
Mm-hmm.
You would leave it.
Yep.
So why would we upload a bad eBay video to our site? It's not going to get views. It's not going to get tractions. No one's going to subscribe to our store. No one's going to buy the item. So we have to be able to put up the very best items that we can find. And people will go, well, I don't have good items by me. We walk past so many good items that we don't even know about. So inside of the group, we have the zip code call where we show people how to find profitable inventory in the area. We can search brands every night. We can stay up with trends. We can look at the solds. We can look at the actives. We can go to, for clothing, you can go to the North Face website, see everything that they're selling, and it tells you the names right there. North Face Steep Tech jacket retails for several hundreds of dollars. Type in North Face Steep Tech jacket on eBay and see the retail versus the resale price. And now you remember that. And you say, wow, North Face Steep Tech jackets sell for several $100s and they resale for $250. So that's an example for clothing. You could do that for shoes. You could do that for media. You could do that for everything. But that requires extra work, extra effort to attain the education, attain the knowledge. But the best thing about effort is free. You don't have to pay anybody to go home and do homework and do research. So for you could research more niches, like you like the cookbooks. They're coffee table books. You could always learn more about all of these different things. And that way, when you see them, you pick them up. Or you figure out how to attain these items. Like your friend who lives down the street. He's figured out how to attain these high quality items. That's not just something he can do. We can all do that. But we have to put in the time to learn that skill too, to have the ability to attain the items. There is so much abundance of items. Like, you can find more cookbooks than you can ever list.
Yeah.
But we have to figure out a way how to find them. But it's possible. It just takes a little bit extra time, a little bit extra effort. And most people aren't willing to do that. They pick out the 20 items that they see at their thrift store. They go once a week and they go home. You have to go consistently, and you have to keep building up your knowledge, because the worst thing that we could do as sellers is walk past profitable inventory that meets our metric. So now we need to figure out, once we figure out the capacity, we need to figure out what your metric is and see if that aligns with the capacity. So what is your metric when you pick up a book? What kind of profit are you looking for? Do you pick up books that you make 50 cents on?
I do pick up some books that I'll make a lower profit on if I know that they've got a higher sell-through rate.
Fine.
So if they're a book that I sell regularly on repeat, or
Fine.
an author, they might only make me $1 or $2. But if I'm making as long as I can buy them for under $1,
okay,
I will know that I can make anywhere between maybe $1 and $5.
Okay.
Because it's a popular book and the sell-through rate on it is fast. So sometimes I will pick up those lower end books.
Okay.
But my problem is I also get a lot of lower end books that come to me in these free hauls or big hauls. And when you buy a big haul, you've got to go, if you don't know the books, you've got to be going through them all. It's very time consuming. When you buy a big haul and maybe 75% of it is junk, but it's very time consuming to keep going through it. And at the moment, I've got a lot of books in my warehouse that have come from these big hauls and stuff. And it's almost to the point where it's overwhelming, because they're either on genres that I'm not familiar with, and they don't have barcodes, so they're not quick to scan and see what they're comping for. I have to manually type them all in. So they end up just gathering and gathering and building and building. And then I go out, obviously, and I'm sourcing. And the books that I like the best, I come home and I'll list those, and the other ones just keep gathering and gathering.
Right.
But when I talked to your wife, she was very clear that she has her 15 items a day. She photographs them, lists them, puts them away. It's instantly done.
Right.
There's no piles and piles and piles sitting around like I've got.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's back up a little bit. So if you are picking up the items where you make $1, $3, or $5 because they do sell fast, fine. If that's the business model that you want, no problem. But 20 a day might not make you enough money that's going to pay your bills.
Yeah.
So now we're talking 30, 40, 60 per day.
Mm.
And now we're talking a 5 or a 6 hour eBay day, and we would still want to do the YouTube.
Yep.
So we need to set the parameter on what exact business model do you run. So if you don't know the model that you run, you end up with pallets of books that don't fit your metric. So if it doesn't fit your metric, it's okay. We don't need every single book. I don't need every piece of clothing. That's not my business. So your business is not, from the sounds of it, the books that have no barcode, that require a lot of research, that 75% of them are no good. That's not your business. But you can find a buyer for a pallet of books that does more of a bulk model, and maybe they're okay doing the research, or they might have a software that can scan the cover, or they're okay doing penny books. There's companies that specialize in penny books. That's their business. They can have those. We don't need those. We need the books that meet our parameters. And the lower our listing goal is, the more profit we need to make per item. So if you want to list 10 a day, and let's say you need $1,000 per week, then it's one thing to list 10 a day. We also have to sell 10 a day. Mm-hmm. And in order to hit $1,000 profit per week, we need to do the math and we need to divide it. And if the amount of money that we're listing per day is not going to get us to our goal, then we have to list more items. So a lot of people, they will say, you know, my goal is to list 100 or sell $100,000 this year. That's my goal. But then you look back at what they listed this year, and they only listed $62,000 worth of merchandise. Mm-hmm. So they will never make $100,000 a year in sales because they're only listing $62,000 worth of merchandise. It's never going to happen. Mm-hmm. So in order to sell 100,000, we have to list 100,000. So in order to make 50,000, we have to list X amount of thousand in product that's going to get us $50,000 in profit. So after you figure out, you know, what your business model is, how much profit I want to make per piece, then you can figure out how many you need to list. And the smaller the margin is, the more you have to do. But there's nothing wrong with a bulk model. A lot of media sellers are bulk model. Mm-hmm. But it's just, you can't sugarcoat it. It's more of a grind. Mm-hmm. It's more photos, more listing, more storing, longer storing, more shipping. Mm-hmm. Where in a perfect world, we would all sell one yacht and make our year salary every single year. One item, one sale, year salary. So we have to find the balance between one yacht, one sale, 1 year salary, and penny book. Penny book, equally you could be successful, but way more of a grind than most people's model.
I think that's how I feel at the moment. Like I'm grinding and not getting any further.
Right. So for the pallets of books that you have, it's okay if those books are not for you. You take the books that are for you, but you need to establish what's for you. Mm. For me is, my average cost of goods is $4. Mm-hmm. My average sale price is $25. Mm-hmm. So I make about $20 profit per item. That's for me. I don't buy items for $4 and sell them for $9.99 and make $2. Yep. That business model is not for me. That business model is for somebody, but it's not for me. Yep. So I think a lot of people, they don't have a business model, or they don't have a proof of concept. So when I sold my first item on eBay, I didn't go out and find other items to buy. I sold my first item and I bought that item again to sell it again. I sold that item and then I went and bought 2 more of that same item and sold them again. It was a model cell phone. Mm-hmm. So I picked up a T-Mobile Sidekick. It sold same day. I didn't go buy a race car. Yeah. I picked up a T-Mobile Sidekick, sold same day, went out and bought 2 more. Those 2 more were sold, I bought 4. Those 4 sold, I bought 8. That was my proof of concept. That was my model. So I think for media, it is hard to find a model, but the model could be, you know, this is my average cost of goods. This is my average sale price. And these are the parameters that I'm looking for. And if it doesn't meet those parameters, there's a billion books out there. We went to a store called Books A Million. There's a billion books. Yep. So for the pallets and stuff that you got for free, that could be like an extension of your business where you take what fits your model. We don't need to keep all of them. Mm. You take what fits your model and you find somebody who those books that you don't want, it fits their model. And maybe you sell a whole pallet for $50.
Yep.
But it's free.
Yep.
And it's not clogging up your space. It's not clogging up your brain. And it's easier to focus. So if you had a pallet to battle and you knew what your parameters were, was, okay, I'm looking for books that sell for this amount of money in this amount of time. Every book that doesn't meet that, I call Fred, and he's going to pick up this whole pallet for $100 or $50 or $20. Just take it from me and make a couple dollars.
Yeah.
And then that way, that helps you lower your average cost of goods, the more you can get, obviously, from the pallet. And you have to choose better rather than being overwhelmed and not being able to make a choice. So for a lot of people, we need to establish, our average cost of goods, and numbers are scary, but we're running a business. We need to figure out our average cost of goods, our average sale price, and what our desired return on our investment is. So I'm spending $4 per piece. I want to return a $25 profit. Now, if it sells faster, then maybe a smaller profit is okay if it sells faster with velocity. But you're not going to hold a book that you make $1 off of for 14 months.
No.
You don't want to do that, but sometimes it happens.
Yeah.
So in order for those times where we don't quite hit our profit goal and we don't quite hit our sale through goal, we have to equally counterbalance that with an item we do very well on very quickly.
Yep.
So that way we can still maintain our average.
Yep.
But if we start filling our store with more items that aren't as good and don't sell through as faster, as we continue to fill our store with that, our average starts to move.
Yep.
And it's going to move towards lower profit, longer tail items.
Yep.
So we should always be focusing on the return and on the time it's going to spend in our store. So in America, we have the parking garages.
Yep.
The parking garage at Disney World holds 10,000 cars. If you can park 10,000 cars there per year and you charge $1 each, you make $10,000 for the year. If you park 20,000 cars there for the year and you make $1 each, you've doubled your money. So we all have parking garages. Parking garage is how many items you can store in your facility. And if you can only park one car in every single spot, you make that much money. But if we can have the traffic constantly going and you can park 10 cars in every spot every month, sell through velocity, you make way more money in your parking garage rather than one car holding the spot paying one fee. We want 10 cars paying 10 fees holding the spot in our warehouse. So warehouse is expensive. We pay a portion of every single item is directly contributed to how much we pay rent. So if you pay $1,000 rent and you have 1,000 items, you pay $1 per month to store that item. Now, if you can sell 2,000 items in a 1,000 item car garage, now you've paid 50 cents. So the only way to make more money is to lower your expenses, which sell through helps lower your expenses on average. If you had 1,000 car garage and you can run 10,000 items through it, you pay 10 cents per piece. So lower your expenses, speed up your processing, or sell more items. And selling more items comes with more work, more work, more work. Our processes come with the same amount of time spent, but streamlining our processes. So when today we can list 10 an hour, we streamline our processing, bring things closer, make things easier, have, no latency in photo transfer, like pictures flying through the air on the computer where you could plug in a memory card, it's instant. Equipment going down, we don't have a backup. Running out of bubble mailers, now we have to go to the store and go find them. The amount of items we can process per hour gives us an hourly pay raise. So if we can get better at photography, better at listing, better at picking our items, and we could do 20 in an hour instead of 8 in an hour, we've given ourselves a pay raise. So all of this stuff starts to matter, but it starts with what is our business model? So with everything you know about books, going to the book fair, this and that, we have to find a business model rather than just being a bookseller. Being a bookseller is too broad.
Yep.
So I'm not a clothing seller. I'm a turn $4 into $25 seller that sells clothes. I would do it with any other widget. That's a beautiful return for me. And I like to have a 90-day sell through on average. Some are going to take longer, some are going to take shorter, but in that blend, I want to do $4 into $25 with a 90-day sell through. That's the parameters and the rules that I've established. If I don't stick to those rules, like I said, it starts to move. And now I'm $4 into $12 with 180-day sell-through. And that's a different business with more expenses, more storage. It's going to require more processing, which could be more labor or more of our time spent.
Yeah.
Larger warehouse. And then your margins start to really shrink for nothing. And now you're selling a lot of items. You don't have no money.
Yeah.
It's all ran out. So a lot of people, we need to establish what is our business model. And buying something for $1 and making $1 is a business model. But you have to sell a lot of items.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that model.
Yeah.
But you have to sell a lot of items. You have to do a lot of work. So with the time allowed, we have to sit down and we have to say, okay, this is my business model. This is how many hours I can afford it per day or per week. And I need to find the best items that fit this model every time when I go outsourcing. So I would rather spend more time sourcing better items than come home and list garbage items in my store that will never sell.
Yeah.
So we all need to establish a business model. So these books at this price are going to sell for this. Everything outside of that, it's not for me.
It's so hard to say no when you've been used to just, I can sell that. I'll take it. I'll sell it. But yeah,
I understand.
I feel like
it's hard, but that's why you have a warehouse full of books.
Yes.
Full of books that are not going to bring you the profit that you want.
So when you're working this out and you profit, like you say, 4 into 20 or whatever.
4 into 25, yep.
4 into 25. Are you accounting for like the coupons and stuff that you're running that are like always like 33% off or whatever?
Correct.
So you're working on, you really need to, those, instead of being 25, it maybe originally started at 30 and you've got that buffer when you sell on a coupon or a discount or something that still takes it down to that 25.
Sure. So the 25 is the average, and that's the beautiful thing about numbers.
Okay.
They don't lie.
Yep.
It is what it is. For a $20 profit, on average, that means, technically speaking, half of your items sell for $20, half of your items sell for $30.
Okay, yeah.
And it gives, that's it. There's no way around it. And we can go on the traffic tab and the sales tab, and we can get our average sale price.
Yeah.
Now, that average sale price is going to include shipping, so we have to account for that as well. And if you go on Google and you type in eBay sales calculator, you could pull up the first one and you can type in your cost of goods. You could type in how much you charge for shipping, how much the item sold for, how much the shipping label actually costs. They will ask you what kind of store you have, the quantity of the items in the sale. Was it a domestic sale? Do you have an anchor store, premier store? And you could type all of that in. Was it a promoted listing? And it will tell you your average profit at the bottom. And that's what a lot of people need to do. And I would go a step further, and this is something that we do in the group. I would start with my average cost of goods, what I charge for shipping, my average shipping cost, which again, you can find on the sales tab. And I would start with a $1 sale. And it's going to tell you, you made 12 cents. And then go to a $2 sale. You made 24 cents. Go to a $3. Go all the way to $100. And that will tell you on paper in black and white, from a $1 sale where you make 12 cents to a $100 sale where you make $86.16. And you need to figure out, where do I want to be? Of course, we all want to be at the $86 range, but back up the truck of all those, right?
Yeah.
So we need to find that level of where my knowledge base is now. Because if you're a beginner, go out and buy $30 items. You don't know what they are.
Yeah.
So when you're a beginner, most beginners have more time than money. If you have more time than money, research is free. Do your homework. When the kids go to bed, go online, do your brand research for an hour every night. If you do that for 30 days or 60 days or 90 days, which seems like a daunting task, but what other business can you start and in 90 days probably be close to more of a professional knowledge base than any other reseller on eBay? It only takes 90 days. And resellers are lazy. If you take 90 days and you dedicate it to your craft, 90 days, you might be the top 1% of knowledge. If you spent 90 days researching postcards, you will be a postcard beast.
Yeah.
You would know more than 99% of the population.
Yeah.
But we don't want to spend an hour a day for 90 days. But this is the stuff we have to study and we have to learn. If you want to grow your business, make it easier on yourself, Because going to the thrift and picking up items that don't sell is not easy on yourself.
No.
You're making your own life harder.
Yes.
Going to the thrift like you did for Tom and picking up great items that are going to sell fast, you make Tom's life happy. Great.
Yeah.
He was thrilled.
He's sending me the messages going, oh, I just listed this for this amount of money, or, oh, that book you bought me yesterday sold within 24 hours.
Right. So why do you get those and then get the crap for you?
Yeah.
Just get those.
Yeah.
And all of us need to do that. All of us. And if there's not enough at this store to hit your quantity that you need, you go somewhere else.
You have to keep looking.
And then you go somewhere else.
Yeah.
And then you go somewhere else. And we say that, and resellers, they don't want to take photos. We don't want to list. We don't want to ship. We don't want to put stuff away. All we want to do is shop, right? But you tell resellers you have to go to another store to find better items, and then they don't want to do that. So what do we want to do? We don't want to find better items. We don't want a photo. We don't want to list. What do we want to do? We want to buy items that never sell. That's apparently what we want to do. But no, we need to keep going to another store and find more and more better items. Better items cures all of this. All of it.
So how much, like, death pile, like, for me as a bookseller, do you think I need to have sitting there waiting to go?
Depends. It depends on a couple of things. It depends on how many you're going to list per day. It depends on how consistent you are. And it depends on how often you get to source. So for me, when I was going to the thrift every day and never missing a day of listing, I didn't need a very large stockpile. Because if I'm going to list every single day, technically speaking, you need 0 drafts. So I listed every day and I never took a day off, never took a vacation. I need 0 drafts. If you always miss days and are always on vacation, you better have a large draft bank. So the consistency is going to determine how much of a draft bank you need. The amount of listings that you do is going to determine how much of a draft bank you need. If you list 25 a day and you're sporadic, you better have a huge bank. If you list 25 a day and you never miss, maybe 25 is good enough.
Yeah.
If you only get to source every 6 weeks because there's only a book for every 6 weeks, then that's a different situation. So it's going to depend on how many you list and how consistent you are. You don't need one if you're going to sit your butt down and do it every single day. You don't need a draft bank.
Yeah.
If you're sick, hell or high water, you're going to do it, you need 0 draft bank. But if you have kids and kid stuff comes up, or if something happens, you get sick, you break an arm, then of course it's good to have the insurance policy. And for the group, we talk about doing 7 days worth of work in 5 days. So that way reselling isn't a grind anymore. You get your weekends off.
Yeah.
And all that is just a couple extra listings Monday through Friday.
Yeah.
And you can have 7-a-day listings. So it's going to depend on the consistency and how aggressive the goal is.
So the death pile almost should be the draft pile. There shouldn't be like...
There's no death pile. It's a queue.
It's a queue.
So a queue, when we went to Disney World, everyone was in a line.
Yeah.
So this item that started last in line eventually ends up first.
Yeah.
We don't cherry pick the best item and then
what I do.
leave the junk and then go out and go get more items.
That's what I do.
So it's a queue.
Yeah.
It's a queue. So I have the stacks of clothes. We have stack A, stack B, stack C. We pick from stack A. When stack A is gone, we start stack B. The new inventory goes in stack A. When B is gone, we go to C. New inventory goes in stack B. So it's kind of serpentine like a snake. Yeah. We don't pick and choose like this.
Yes.
That's death pile. That's dead money.
We
have a queue.
Yep.
So when you're picking through the pallet, you make a queue. You list stack A, stack B, stack C, and you replenish the queue. We can't have dead money sitting there, not making us money, not bringing back more money.
Yeah, that's what happens to me.
Sure.
I pick up these hauls.
Yep.
They're massive. They're full of books that I'm not familiar with. They go in almost like the too hard pile. I'll deal with that when I have time. I never have time.
Sure.
I'm going out still sourcing all the time, bringing in the books that I'm familiar with.
Yep.
So then they're the ones that I'm getting listed.
Yep.
Meanwhile, another free haul's coming in. That's being added to the other haul. And then next minute I've got stacks and stacks and boxes and bookcases of books that sit there for months, never getting even touched. Because, So for me now, who's got that big stack like there, I need to go on a buying ban, don't I? Like,
Absolutely.
No buying.
Absolutely.
Get through that until I've got like a small 2-week or 1-week working pile A, pile B, pile C.
Right. And so, because right now you don't even really know what you have.
No.
And if you knew at home you had 3 weeks of high quality inventory
Yeah.
already in the queue,
Yeah.
how much easier does it make it sourcing?
Yeah.
You don't have to pick up garbage because you know you have high quality items waiting for you.
Yeah.
So you're much more selective by default.
Yeah.
If you don't know what you have,
Yeah.
you just keep buying stuff.
Yeah.
And for you, you're getting a lot of this stuff for free.
Yeah.
Where, and a lot of people probably get free stuff all the time.
Yeah.
But if someone gave you a free snake, it doesn't mean you have to take it.
Yeah.
Just because it's free doesn't mean we have to take it.
Yeah.
Now, if people are giving you free books and you can take a selection of it and pass the rest on, no problem.
Yeah.
But a lot of people spend themselves out of business by keep on sourcing and not listing enough. So if our listing goal is 100 items a week, why would we buy 300 items a week?
Yeah.
Every week.
Yeah.
And 200 items at $5 is $1,000.
Yeah.
So we're already in the hole $1,000 per week. And then we do our books and we wonder where the money is.
Yeah. I think my issue as well is my processing is way too slow. So I get this big haul in. I don't know this genre. Boom, stack it in the corner. I'll deal with that later. But there's no processing routine. So the books that I'm buying, that I'm cherry picking, they come in and go straight to the pile next to my photography station. I get those done straight away because I've picked them. I know they're good.
Right.
The other stuff just keeps sitting there. So
Right.
I need to. So I think the first thing for me to do would be to work out my business plan, but also start culling through these books and making the pile of this doesn't fit the metric.
Got to go.
That's got to go.
Cut and dry.
Start creating like a palette. That might be great for someone else. It's not for me.
It's not for you.
And then the ones that start making the pile.
Absolutely.
I feel like I need to overhaul the whole thing. I feel like it needs like a month of not doing anything else, but just sorting it out. But obviously you can't do that. So I'll probably limit myself for a little bit on how much. I'll work out exactly what I need to do. And then once I know what I need to do, I think I'll work on what's there and getting through it. And maybe not quite list what I actually need to for a few weeks while I get through it. And then I can come out and go hard. Or is that wrong?
Well, you see how the problem of receiving too much stock that you don't know about has spread like a virus through your business.
Yeah, and it's time consuming. And I don't have the time.
Right. It spread like a virus because now we need to cull it. We have piles in the corner that we need to make decisions on. And instead of spending time making money, which making money is photograph and listing.
Yeah.
Now we're spending time on tasks that don't make us money.
Yeah.
And if we can minimize that and maximize photo and listing, that's when we start to have more successful businesses. So there is nothing more profitable to a reseller than sitting their butt in the chair with their fingers on the keyboard listing items. Now, listing items that sell.
Yes.
We can't just list items for the sake of listing items.
Because we've got them there.
No, you don't get paid for that. So like for a lawyer, they bill you hourly. But they can only bill you for something that for a process that they've done for you.
Yeah.
We can't bill the customer for an item that doesn't sell. We can only bill the customer when an item sells. But one problem inside of the business spreads like a virus and affects all of them. Because now instead of sitting our butt in the computer with our fingers on the keyboard making money, we're not doing that. We're not doing that because we're cleaning up a mess every single day.
Yes.
And then we start being inconsistent.
Yeah.
And then eBay punishes us for being inconsistent, which is the conspiracy theory.
Yep.
And it just starts to spread and spread and spread, and then it's a tumble. And then now we are still shopping during all of this. We don't stop shopping.
Yep.
We're still shopping.
This is me.
We're still receiving inventory.
Yep.
And this virus is just spreading more and more and more, and we're getting overwhelmed. We have too many projects, too many piles, and we're not spending enough time taking photos and doing listings.
Yep. That's exactly what happens to me. I get to the end of the day, I feel like I've done a million things, but none of the things that are actually going to make me the money.
Absolutely. So if we're going to work 8 hours, and a lot of resellers work 12 and 14, maybe even 16 hours. If you want to work 16 hours, I'm all for it. But you better have 16 hours worth of productivity to show for it.
Yeah.
If you work 16 hours and don't have 16 hours of productivity to show for it, then you did not do what you were supposed to do today.
Yeah.
If you work 4 hours and have 4 hours of productivity to show for it, excellent. But if you work 4 hours and have one listing done, that's not a good use of your time. So if you put in an 8-hour day, slaving away, breaking your back, lifting books, moving books, sorting books, do you have 8 hours a day? What do you have to show for it? You have nothing. You have no listings up, no new listings up, no new customers.
Yep. And slow sales.
Slow sales. But you worked hard.
Yeah.
But you don't have. So when we have our listing goal, if it's 20 hours a day or 20 listings a day, the result has to be the same every single day. We have to have the same result. So if you are a 20-a-day lister, you can sort as much as you want. You can take on as many projects as you want. You can do whatever you want. But your result has to be the same every single day. You have to show 20 listings a day of productivity. And if you want to make it take 24 hours, our result has to be the same every single day. We can't have, yeah, but I was doing this, and that. Our result wasn't the same. If we're 20 a day, we have to show 20 a day every single day for the amount of time that we're putting in.
I know exactly what you're saying, and you're reading me like a book. Like it's exactly me, and it's why I'm partly so frazzled. But I feel frazzled now. How do I even start it? How do I get into the mode and clean up whatever the virus that I've already made?
You have to make rules. You have to put pencil to paper, and you need to figure out what your business is. Anything that is not in your business, you go home and you give it to someone else who that is their business. Or you throw it away, you redonate it, you get it out of there.
Yep.
And
you start from fresh.
We have to make it perfect.
Yeah.
So we need to figure out our business model, because we can't sort all these stacks without knowing what our model is.
Yeah.
And once we establish those rules, we don't bend, we don't fold, we don't break. These are the rules. There are no exceptions. If you're willing to make one exception, you're willing to make 2 exceptions. And then what happens? More and more and more and more. So these are our rules, no exceptions. So we go home, we have our rules, we start sorting, and if it's a monumental task, how do you eat an elephant?
Yep.
One bite at a time. So we're going to take one bite, but our result has to be the same.
Okay.
We have to list our 20 items.
Yep.
Take one bite, list 20 items.
Okay.
Take one bite, and when we're going through these books, do these meet my metrics?
Yep.
If it's not, find someone whose metrics they do meet. And if you can be profitable, or at minimum break even on that product, just get your investment back. But if you can still be profitable on those items that don't meet your metrics, now you're doing well on eBay and you're monetizing the duds. That's a good place to be. You can do it, but you need rules. If you don't have rules, you're going to go home, and what are you going to... It's a free-for-all. If your kids had no rules, what would it be? It would be your business.
Yeah.
If all of our kids had no rules, that's what our business is.
Yep.
But if you raise a kid with rules, they're going to come out good.
Yeah.
So write your rules and then eliminate everything that is outside of your rules.
Yeah. And
then only buy items that fit your rules, or only sort items that meet your rules and sort the other items the other way. It's okay. We don't need all the books.
Yeah.
I don't need all the clothes.
Yeah.
I can find enough clothes that meet my parameters, and I'm confident you can find enough books that meet your parameters. Everything else, it's not your business.
Yeah.
You're not set up for that.
Yeah.
So I've had opportunities to buy bicycles, to buy sombreros, to buy toasters, to buy shoes. I'm not set up for that. I have a photo station that's made for clothing. I have a storage station that's made for clothing. My listing is made for clothing. I'm not set up to sell a toaster.
Yeah.
Because a toaster can't go on a hanger.
No.
A toaster can't go in a poly bag, which is what my shipping station is set up for.
Yeah.
So if you're not set up for it, it's okay.
Yeah.
Someone else's business is set up for that, and someone else needs that item more than you do. Sure, there might be $1,000 bike. I'm not set up for that. And someone else needs that more than I do.
Yeah.
Even if you're not doing well, someone who runs a bike business needs that. So someone who runs that business of those books, they need those books more than you do.
Yeah. That's what I noticed when I was in your warehouse, in your clothing part of the warehouse where all your listed clothing stored. That's it.
That's it.
There is nothing. It's racks of listed clothing. There is no piles sitting around the rooms. You come in here, you've got your 3 photo stations.
Yep.
Everything's the same.
Yep.
Everything's set up the same. the working pile that's in the next one.
Yep.
Number A, that's ready
Yep.
to go.
Yep.
There's no, like, for a store that's got however many thousands, 30, 40,000, 50,000 listings, there's no stuff anywhere. It's just it's the actual business is the stuff, and that's all that's here.
And I was thinking the other day, because we've been talking about clutter a lot in the group, I think that a large amount of my success is due to having no clutter. That might be the secret.
Yep.
That might be the secret of everything. There's no clutter in the business.
It's just that constant working inventory pile that is in that system.
Yep.
There's no piles of excess. If you were to go and get a big haul, you would process that instant. I watched you the other day. I watched you. You had a delivery of clothing come to your house.
Done.
Within 5 minutes, it was on the table.
Yep.
And within 5 minutes, it was sorted. This pile was
and sold.
This pile was here for that. This pile was here for that. This pile was here for that.
Yep.
It was done.
Done. And then what happened after that? We went out and had fun.
Yes.
So if we can complete our task, we can go out and do other stuff.
Yeah.
But if we just sit here and let it build up,
yeah,
then we can't do anything except get consumed by the business.
Well, I've got like I've got like 50 boxes of Mills and Boon books that I bought nearly a year ago, still sitting in the corner of the warehouse because I don't have time to do them.
Right.
Because I didn't process them straight away and
Absolutely.
get them sorted straight away into open them up straight away, get these bundles done. Any that I don't want to bundle, move on to somebody else.
Right, exactly. So like clutter can be what you're talking about.
Yep.
And clutter can also be things that are going to distract you.
Yep.
So if you look on the listing station, it's computer.
Yep. That's it.
That's it. There's no distractions. So we all get distracted by the phone, by the TV, by a phone call, by a text message. I understand. Emergencies, kids call, fine. But your family and your kids also have to respect you're at work. They wouldn't call you if you worked in an office. They would know mom's at work, dad's at work. So, but the least amount of result that you get, the less serious they're going to take you in your schedule. If you are getting the results, they will say mom's at work, dad's at work, and they will respect that time. They will respect not distracting you. Or if you have a little widget, or if you have this and you have that, it's unnecessary clutter. It's a distraction, and it's only going to draw us back from where we want to be. So everything in here, Chris likes to call it, there's no vibe in here.
No.
There's no swag.
No.
We come here, we do our work at a comfortable pace. No one's falling over, but because everything is set up perfectly, we don't have to fall over ourselves. We just work at a comfortable pace. We knock out our goal. And we come here and we do it again tomorrow. And every day is the same exact day because that was the first question that we talked about earlier. What am I going to be doing Friday, August 11th at 2 p.m.? I already know. The schedule is the same every single day because that's how all of this is built. It's all built to have the same schedule every single day on rotation. And if you don't know what you're doing next week at a certain time, then you need to really evaluate and really sit down and look at the schedule. Because uncertainty can never be successful. So I would say, get your schedule, figure out what you're capable of doing in all aspects of things you want to do, establish your business model, and have no emotion, black and white, get rid of these things that do not apply to my business and run that business. And the freedom of eBay, the freedom of YouTube allows you to build the business around the life that you want to live. But a lot of us, that's the theory going into it. But we don't get to the point where we ever build that business.
No, we're just grinding away in this. May as well have a job.
May as well have a job.
Yeah.
And if the life you want to live involves a 4-hour-a-day eBay day, if you smash those 4 hours, I couldn't be happier for you. You don't have to do 120 hours a week. If the life you want to live is a 4-hour eBay day where you smash it, everyone's happy for you. But if the life you want to live is a 4-hour day and you don't have those kind of results, then you don't get to have the life that you want to live.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
I needed the slap.
Just schedule, figure out what your business is, black and white, no emotion. Sort and deselect those items that don't
Yep.
fit your metric.
But don't stop doing my listing while I'm sorting
You
that.
have to have that result every
keep
single
coming.
day.
Yep.
So you have to do your listings,
Yep.
and the sorting has to be on top of that in addition,
Yep.
as a punishment,
Yep.
because of what you've allowed to happen inside of your business.
Yep.
And we all have to take accountability of what happens in our business.
Yeah.
Everything is our fault.
Yeah.
So you could have a 4-hour day and be done with eBay.
Yeah.
But now, as a punishment, until you get caught up, you have a 4-hour day because we need the same result.
Yep.
And now you have 4 hours of punishment work.
Yep.
That you've brought onto yourself.
Punishment work.
It is. It's punishment. Yeah. And good.
Good. You deserve that.
And if you don't learn that lesson, then that's also good for you too.
Yeah.
If you don't figure that out, then you deserve more punishment and you deserve to suffer more. The sooner you figure that out and you get back to that 4-hour a day that gives you the result that you want,
yeah, happy you'll be.
Happier you'll be.
Yeah, because at the moment I just feel like a frazzled mess, and I don't like feeling like that. I want to have the streamlined, clean. I know that I work better in a clean environment.
Absolutely.
I know that I always am more productive when everything is sorted and clean.
Absolutely.
And I know as soon as it becomes on top of me, I become squirrel brained.
Absolutely. But it's frazzled because there's no rules.
Yeah. And that's how it goes from one, because I feel like I'm in this vicious circle. Oh, get it all clean, and then I'm back to.
There's no rules.
I'm back to mess everywhere. Then I clean it up, and then I'm back to mess everywhere, and it's because no rules.
What is your rule for mess? What is your rule for clutter?
Yeah.
We have no rules.
Yeah.
My rule is no mess, no clutter.
Yeah.
That's the rule. If something is 1 inch out of place, I notice it, I fix it. Literally 1 inch.
Yeah.
Because 1 inch turns to 2, turns to 3, turns to 4. If you set sail for Australia to come to California and you are 1 degree off, you'll end up in Russia. But if you're this close and end up 1 degree off, you still get where you're going.
Yeah.
But the further you have to go, the less room for error there is. Yeah. So 1 degree ends up compounding and you end up going the wrong direction when we're supposed to be going this way.
Yeah.
So everything needs to be perfect, and perfect is correct.
Yeah.
Everything needs to be correct. Everything has a home. Everything's in the correct spot. That's the rule.
Yeah.
So at my house, on the counter, we have a pen tray like this. There's a bunch of pens in it. Sometimes there's pens on the outside of it. That's not correct. I always put the pen back. And Chris goes, well, maybe you need a bigger pen tray. The pen tray isn't the issue. The pen tray could be the size of a pizza box. If the pen doesn't end up in the pizza box pen tray, it's still not correct.
Yep.
It's not the size of it.
Yeah.
It's
the process.
It has to be in the pen box. Because if you allow your pen to be outside here, what else do you allow to not be in its home? Yeah. And then we look around and we have a whole room full of clutter that now we have to spend additional time with as what? Punishment. Yeah. Punishment, and now we have to go back and fix it. Rather than, it takes no extra effort to put it back into the pen box. Yeah. If you're not a glutton for punishment, establish your rules and live a beautiful life. Yep. If you love punishment, do whatever you want.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to go home when I'm doing it, and hopefully by the time this video is launched, my story is going to be running totally different than how it is while I'm sitting here now.
Okay, so got to write down your parameters for your items. Mm-hmm. You got to figure out your schedule. Yeah. Do you have a plan for the clutter for the books?
Well, that'll just be in that extra time. Start sorting through them. Yep. If they don't have scanning barcodes and I think they're worth it, I'll manually type them in and check them.
Right there, or you're going to put in a pile? A pile for check later.
No, I'm going to do it right there and then. Okay. I'll check them straight away, and if they're not right, they go into the offload pile.
Do you have a buyer for that?
I can work one, yep.
Okay, because we need to know where those got to go.
Okay, so you got to have all that in line first.
Right, because maybe that person says, I want books that are like this. Yeah. And you've built a different product. Yeah. So you need to figure out who those, even if they go in the dumpster. Yeah. You need to figure out what the parameters of books that need to go in the dumpster. Yeah. And then that way, because if you're just sorting here and there, now you've only resorted your sorted pile. Yeah. So figure out who those books are going to go to, where they're going to go, what you're going to do with them. And it's black and white. If it doesn't meet the metric, no emotion, it's got to go. Yeah. And then from there, concentrate on that metric that you've built, stick to your schedule, be consistent, and it will allow you to focus on eBay, focus on YouTube, and you'll have workable hours that you could bill to a customer because you're listing your items that you're supposed to list every day.
Yep. Yep. Okay. I feel like I've got a path now.
That's it.
That's all I needed. I needed the path. My brain was just like, I don't know where to start. But now I've got the path.
Yep. And that works for everybody.
Yeah.
But this is just business.
Yeah.
We need our proof of concept. We need to know what business we're running. We need a schedule, and we need the same result every single day.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it. Okay.
You got it.
Done.
You got it. If you have any questions,
thank you.
You can always send me a message or whatever you need to do. I'm more than happy.
Okay. Thanks.
No problem. Thank you.
I hope that helps somebody else as well. Thanks, Tech.
No problem. Thank you.
Done.